Hello, everyone. Welcome back, or welcome to the Literally What podcast, and welcome to our new studio. If you're watching this on YouTube, then you probably can see we are in a much different spot. So this is our new podcast studio. I am absolutely in love with it. Hopefully you love the color pink. If you are listening to this on Spotify or Apple or anywhere else, definitely jump on over to the YouTube to give it a little look-see and see what we did with the place. So I would say the studio right now is about 80% done. There's still a few things that we're going to add, but let me just say, putting a studio together is a lot because I cannot build anything to save my life. Somehow I put this desk together. That's the only thing I did because I'm pretty sure this might fall at any moment. So shout out to my husband because he literally helped me with all of this. And another thing I noticed is I've never had studio lights before, and I did add studio lights, and let me just say it feels like it's 90 degrees in here. So that's super fun for me. But anyway, here we are. I'm so excited. I was so excited to share the space so that you guys could see it. Take a shot every time I say I'm so excited. I just have been waiting to show you guys for so long. And we did a little bit of like a rebrand over here. So if you've been listening for the past year or so, if you've been listening for the past month, we are switching it up over here. So I just wanted to make it more me. I wanted to talk a little bit more about things that I love and that I find so fascinating that hopefully you guys do as well. We're still doing pop culture, but we are adding a lot more. So this is now the weekly podcast where pop culture, true crime, and internet chaos will have you saying literally what. I think I made it a lot more me by also keeping what I originally wanted to start with this podcast a little over a year ago, and we just have so much in store. I'm so excited. We have a lot of new segments coming up that we'll be doing every week, and I'm just excited to dive in. And, this is kind of just like a start, very pink, a nice pink base, and then we will just continue adding on from there. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, technology, this is my first time using all this new stuff, and hopefully everything looks and sounds fine, but this is definitely going to be a test run episode. So if there's anything that goes wrong, just ignore it and bear with me. But before we get into everything, we of course are going to do a little bit of housekeeping. So first of all, I changed and pretty much renamed everything socials wise, email wise, if you're searching me anywhere you get podcasts. So everything now is podcast literally what. I took out all of the numbers. I took out all of the weird spelling. So now we're just going to be super easy to find. Everything is going to be very nice and simple because I like nice and simple. So Instagram and TikTok, go follow those. That's just podcast literally what. If you want to send an email, it's podcastliterallywhat@gmail.com. And then we also are now on Good Pods, Castbox, Amazon Music. We will be on iHeart, whatever that's called. We're going to be a lot of places as well. So that's also just like podcast literally what, or literally what podcast with normal spelling. So to make it all super simple and easy for you, I have a link tree. It's in my Instagram bio, and it will also be in the description box if you're watching on YouTube or if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, wherever. It is in there as well. So if you just click that little link, it'll take you to all my other bajillion links. So you can find what you need there. What else? YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and go ahead and hit the like button. Please, please, please. And then if you're listening, if you haven't given a 5-star review, please go do that. And if you want to leave a little written review saying how cute the space is, that would be so fun of you. But yeah, I'm so excited, you guys. I also am keeping up with the timestamps in the description box. I've gotten so many people saying thank you for doing timestamps, because sometimes they want to skip a story, or sometimes when I'm recapping a show, they don't want to listen to that. So all of the stories, everything we talk about will be in the description as well. So you can either see what we're talking about that day, or you can just kind of skip something over. But yeah, also if you're not following the Instagram, I did a little refresh of that as well. I just refreshed everything, and everything just feels good and clean. Everything has the same name. So we're just we're good to go. I'm excited. And I have a lot of fun stuff planned. So that's all the housekeeping for right now. I think that was a lot. I might literally get blinded by these ring lights. I don't know how people do it. I think when they do it, they look off. So maybe I'll figure that out as well. Also, just the recording situation, there's a lot that maybe we can work on next time, but bear with me for this first episode. Okay, that's everything. My head is all over the place because I'm so excited to be sharing this with you guys. I've been working so hard. I'm so proud of it. And yeah, without any further ado, let's get into some pop culture, true crime, and internet chaos that will have you saying literally what? Okay, you guys, so our first segment is going to be the literally what moment of the week. So this is really just a headline or story or something that has happened within the past week that I just think is the most literally what moment. And we're going to talk about it because for this week's, the girls went to space for 11 minutes and we absolutely have to talk about this. So I knew that Katy Perry was doing something related to going up to space. I didn't know any details. I didn't know when it was happening. And the morning that it was supposed to happen, my friend texted me asking, did you know this is happening, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, not really. I mean, kind of. So I went to try to find a live stream of it. And she said, no, they already went to space and are back. And I was like, are you kidding? Mind you, it was like barely past 9 a.m. Eastern time. And so I was just confused because I was like, okay, did they go like super early or something? And she said, no, it was literally like 10 minutes that they were there. I said, that, okay, is actually crazy. So I did end up finding a live stream and it was when they were already down from space in the Blue Origin, or I don't really know what it's called. But I swear, okay, I watched the live stream and they were all in, I think it was 6 or 7 women. They were in this little Blue Origin. It looked like a little like bubble of some sort. And they were in there for probably quadruple the amount of time they were up in space. Okay. They were in there for forever. I don't know what they were doing. The reporters didn't really know what they were doing. It was like a really long time. I didn't know what was going on in there. They're making TikToks or something in there. I'm sure there was some kind of reason for why they were in there. But while I was watching this live stream and waiting for them to come out of the door opened, right? So the door just like flew open by itself or someone opened it from the inside. And then a few seconds later it shut. So in my head and in everyone's head, you're probably thinking like, oh, they'll like come out and walk out whenever. No, that is not what happened. So basically Jeff Bezos walks up to the door. Mind you, before he got to the door, he apparently tripped, okay, and fell on the ground. And then he's holding this crowbar. And then proceeds to snap this crowbar in and act like the door is locked and he has to like unlock it from the outside to get them out of there. But a few minutes later, the door was already open from the inside. So that to me, I was kind of sitting there thinking, that is so weird. This is so performative. I know a lot of people think that was fake, I don't think that was fake, them going to space. But I think this whole charade of, it was weird of him having to use a crowbar to then, I don't know, get them out of there. Like, what was the point of that? I thought that was so stupid. So the door opens, okay? One lady runs out, starts crying, runs to her family, hugs them, screaming, crying. Katy Perry kisses the ground, holds up a daisy. Her daughter's name's Daisy. She held up a daisy to the sky. She then got interviewed saying how she just feels so much closer to love, or she understands love more. I don't really know. And everyone was just crying. And it just seemed very over dramatic for something that I thought was going to be a longer trip. You know what I mean? And let me just say, okay, props to them for going up to space, because you could not pay me any amount of money for me to get in something like that and go up to space and assume I'm coming back down. No, thank you. I'm claustrophobic. I don't really like heights. I don't like things that could potentially have a really bad ending as something that's not really been done many times before. I know people go to space a lot, I think, but I don't know. Still, it's a little suspicious to me. So I think it's great of them that they did that. Good for them. But just the whole performance of it, it was very weird to me. And I just don't get what the point was. Especially because it was 11 minutes. They just went up, experienced no gravity, came back down. So I don't really know what the point was. And that was 100%. I knew that was going to be my literally what moment of the week, because I was just watching everything. And I was like, this is crazy. And you know what else I thought? SNL, which SNL, I'm recording on Saturday. This will be up Saturday. And I know SNL is going to do a parody of this tonight. And I'm actually so excited. I don't find SNL that funny. Sometimes there will be a really funny skit that goes viral on TikTok or something. I never tune in to watch the show, but I definitely want to see what they do, because it's not even like they have to do anything. They could probably just repeat all the interviews and do the exact same actions and not even have to come up with a parody of it. Like, just do exactly what happened and it would be an amazing and hilarious skit. So yeah, that was actually crazy. And I just, again, didn't really know what the point of that was. So anyway, there we go. Okay, our next little segment I am calling Viral Vortex. Might change the name here and there, but for now that's what we're going with. So this is a segment where something that's going viral, we're just going to talk about it, if it went viral on like TikTok, or if it's just something that everyone's kind of talking about, and especially this viral vortex moment, because after more than 10 years, the Ice Bucket Challenge has come back. And I can't believe that I'm saying those words, because I literally just feel like I did this Ice Bucket Challenge when I think I was either middle or high school, okay? So that feels like just yesterday. I'm now 25 years old. I still feel like I'm 14 years old, but I didn't know I was at the age where old trends that happened are now coming back, and I'm witnessing them, and people that like are close to me are doing it, and I'm like, what the actual heck is going on with this? And I'm all for, you know, things in my childhood coming back, because I love anything that has to do with my childhood or nostalgia. I swear nostalgia will be the death of me, because it is a great emotion, but it hurts. Like it hurts if you really dive deep into the nostalgia and all of that. But anyway, this isn't exactly what I would have picked from my childhood to come back and be viral again. I think the Harlem Shake coming back would have been amazing and hilarious. I think silly bands, I think shows that we grew up watching coming back would be great. Not the Ice Bucket Challenge, because who wants to throw cold water over your head? I will say I'm glad this is coming back and not the Cinnamon Challenge, because if you did the Cinnamon Challenge and you survived, you've been through a lot. you know what I mean? So yeah, that's coming back. And then of course I had to dive into, well, what is, this for? Why is this coming back? So if you remember, back in my day, my gosh, it was for raising awareness and money for the ALS. I hope I said that right and not ASL. It's ALS, okay. And now it's raising money for Active Minds, and it's a nonprofit that is really bringing awareness to mental health in younger children, which I am all for. I talk about that a lot. I think that a lot of people don't really know and understand mental health until they're like in college or beyond, and I didn't really understand that until I think it was after I graduated college. And so I think it's important for younger generations and younger kids to learn about mental health. And so also knowing like it is completely normal, you know what I mean? And so I love what it is standing for, even though it is throwing ice over your head. And if I get tagged, I don't know if I'm going to do it, because that doesn't sound amazing. Maybe on a really, really hot summer day, but the people who did bring it back, they were from the University of South Carolina. So students from there brought it back, and it has traveled. And it's so funny because on my Instagram, on the stories, I'll see people who are doing this Ice Bucket Challenge, and then the days go on and people who are getting closer to my circle are getting tagged, and it's kind of like a ripple effect of, I don't think anyone would tag me, and I don't think anyone my age would be doing this, but I don't know. So it's just me sitting here waiting to see what happens with this Ice Bucket Challenge. But the more you know, it's back now. And now I really, really, really feel old. So thank you, kids, for doing this to me. Okay. Our next segment is the stop scrolling segment. And if you can, use your brain, it's moments that made you stop scrolling. Do you see, like, if you're watching, like, this desk is literally moving. So I definitely did not put this together right. But the thing with this desk is it's all like screws, and I was screwing it in the wrong way, like backwards, because the directions were no help. And so I kept screwing it in backwards, and then I had to like flip it, and I somehow put it together, and I'm just proud of myself for getting it to stand up. You know what I mean? But my husband will be doing the rest of it later whenever he's home, because this was awful. Anyway, so stop scrolling moments. We have 3 crazy stories that I saw that literally had me stop in my tracks, because you know, the internet's crazy, and sometimes things I see, I'm just like, I can't believe this is the world that I'm living in, you know, in this time period. It's just so weird. Anyway, first story. A TikTok video went viral of two people who were on top of a parking garage. You can imagine what they were doing. They weren't in a parking garage. It was the actual top. There was no cover. They were all out in the open, okay? This person was in another building overlooking the parking garage, recorded this whole thing, posted it on TikTok. It got millions and millions of views, so many views. And people in the comments were trying to figure out, like, who it was. Is it just like a married couple, or is it just like boyfriend, girlfriend? What's going on? And people were like, oh, what if this is like people cheating and like this person caught him? And people are like, no, we're not that lucky. And so the longer the video was up, I think it was up for a few hours, maybe a day, very short. And this is one of the reasons I love TikTok, because you can't make this up. And like, this would never happen anywhere else. You know what I mean? So with zero context, just this random video being put up, okay? The TikTok sleuths, the TikTok people, they found exactly who the two people were. They found the company they worked for. They found their LinkedIn accounts. They found literally everything, you guys. So it turns out it was indeed an affair between two coworkers. It was a girl who was like a director of something, who was in her like 30s. I think she was engaged. And then the guy who was like 50, and get this, a co-founder of the company. Yeah, you don't get this on TV. This is like real stuff. So he was also married, and people found like everything about them, right? So now if you go online and search their LinkedIn, it's no longer active. Facebook is no longer active. And obviously it's sad because it like breaks up families and stuff, but also, you know, people are making jokes about HR nightmare. Like, imagine walking into that company the next day, like knowing, like, do they know they went viral? Because who knows if people see this, or like who has seen it. I'm sure they have, because they literally found their names and put them in the comments and stuff. So it is just kind of crazy. It's crazy what the internet can do. And it's also crazy that like people are still, I don't know, not as sneaky, because like you're in an open parking garage. Like, I don't get that. I don't understand that at all. There's literally video cameras everywhere. In today's world, it's just kind of crazy that stuff like that still happens, and that it got caught and posted on a TikTok and found out in like a day. That is crazy. Like, so crazy. So if you do think you're having a bad day, you guys, at least you're not these people who got blasted on TikTok. And yeah, kind of crazy. And I think I saw the video. It was like the second day it was up. So by that point, everyone already knew who it was. And then if you scroll down, it was still like the beginning. And so people were just commenting like, oh my gosh, like, who is this? Like, who could it be? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So apparently the person who recorded it works like next to their building or company. So maybe he like was trying to expose it. I don't know. But it was crazy. That's the internet for you. Okay. Our next story is about Amanda Bynes. So she is joining OnlyFans, but it's not why you think. Okay, get your head out of the gutter, people, even though that's literally the point of OnlyFans. But she is sharing that she wants to join to just talk to her fans through DMs. I don't know how OnlyFans works. I know it's like you make like sleazy content, you like get paid for it. But if you like OnlyFans, like I feel like it could work for celebrities to do it as a way to talk to their fans and make money off of it. Because imagine how many Instagram DM celebrities get, and imagine if they just did an OnlyFans. That sounds so bad. Like, just have celebs do OnlyFans. But you know what I mean? Like, if they do it in like an innocent way, and like people can pay to talk to their celebrity like people. You know what I mean? I feel like so many people would do that. Granted, I'm sure if they did it, it would maybe be like their celebrities like assistants, but I feel like it would just be like a more VIP way to talk to a celebrity than sliding in their DMs. So I like, people hear OnlyFans and your mind automatically goes to where it goes, but I wonder if OnlyFans ever tried to be like a different kind of content and it be more of like an innocent place, and maybe there is a future in which it can provide both, you know? I don't know. Because OnlyFans, like, yeah, your fans. Talk to them through the DMs. Yeah, so she'll be there if you want to go chat her up. I wonder how much that would be. I know there's like Patreon, but that's not, I don't think you can like direct message people. But apparently you can on OnlyFans, so good to know. Good to know. Okay, and then our last little stop scrolling moment. Again, you might only know about this because you're on TikTok. And it's about the WNBA, specifically a player who has been through a lot of allegations. She's just honestly a horrible person. But SEDONA Prince is a basketball player. She is very TikTok viral because she has had a lot of allegations against her from all of her past partners. Specifically, her most recent one, it was really, really bad. And she played on the TCU basketball team the past like 3 years, I think. She's been playing college basketball for 7 years. So long time, girlfriend. And she just like is the worst. So the WNBA was last week, and she was, I think, second round predicted to be picked for that because she's 6'7". She is a really great basketball player. But during the draft, ESPN ended up discussing her and bringing all these allegations to light because I think it was getting towards the end of the draft, and they said, you know, she is supposed to be picked. You know, she was very highly prioritized based on like her talent and all of that. And projected to be, you know, second round pick or whatever it's called. And they said that this was something that teams were looking at because of all these allegations that have been brought against her since 2019. And she ended up not getting drafted. And oh my gosh, like every video on my TikTok was just like, thank God, because for years people were messaging like the basketball team she was playing for and being like, why are you letting her still be on your roster? Like all of this, like look at all of this. And so it just seemed like justice wasn't being served for everything that she did. And now I guess you could say this is what we call justice because she wasn't drafted. So I don't know what happens from there, what her career will be. Maybe she'll go back to making TikToks, but like she has to have her comments off because she only gets hate comments because she's actually the worst. But that was kind of crazy. 6'7". That's so tall. Okay, our next segment. It's just a fun little one I wanted to put in here, mainly because sometimes I want to complain about stuff. And what better way than to do that to you guys. But this is the obsessed or over it segment. So if there's something throughout the week that I was obsessed with, I'm going to talk about it. And then if there's also something that I was over, I will also be talking about that as well. So we're going to start out with my over it because I am so over it. And that is pollen. Okay, so for those who don't know, we recently moved back up to Georgia. We lived in Florida for about a year and a half. And all of my friends were telling me, like, this is the highest pollen's ever been up in Georgia. Like, it's so awful, blah, blah, blah. And I haven't really dealt with pollen, so I forgot, like, how much it sucks. But it didn't even cross my mind. I was like, oh, okay, it'll be fine. It's just pollen. You guys, like, come on, suck it up. Well, I got up here. And ever since I've gotten up here, I have been dying, you guys. I actually have been dying. And we have a fenced-in backyard. And our animals want to be outside all day, every day. We have a dog and a cat. Our cat, we have a little harness for because he's obsessed with going outside with his big sister. And they just want to be outside. And they'll just, like, lay out there all day. And I go outside for 2 minutes and I'm actually dying. It's so bad. And I think it's way lower down. Because I think when we moved back up here, it wasn't even in its prime. And I'm still dying. You guys, it's awful. Like my eyes, my throat, everything. Oh my gosh, it's so bad. I'm so over it. And I don't know when it leaves. It won't leave me alone. It's awful. But on a good note, my obsessed comes from Pinterest, and it is Easter appetizers. Okay, so whenever there's a holiday coming up, I love making themed like desserts or little like appetizer boards. And I feel like most holidays everything is kind of the same and overdone. And I went on Pinterest and looked at Easter ones. Oh my gosh, there were so many cute ideas. I was scrolling for probably like an hour and a half saving things. And I had so much trouble like picking what I wanted to make because it was so cute. It was like, you could do chocolate like eggs, and then you can make like little bunnies, or you can make like birds, you can make carrots, you can make a whole freaking bunny charcuterie board. And I was just having so much fun going through, and I love this time of year because I think like Easter and spring stuff is so cute, like flowers, bunnies, carrots, Easter baskets, pastels. I don't know, I've just been obsessed with it. So I finally narrowed down what I wanted to make. I knew I was going to do like a Rice Krispie treat vibe because there were like 100 different Rice Krispies that you can make. And I ended up going with carrots because they just look the cutest. And then I am doing like a Easter theme, just like a veggie tray. But I don't know why I've never looked up Easter like dessert and appetizer themes. But it's my new favorite holiday to make things for because everything is so freaking cute. And every holiday I feel like everyone makes the same kind of thing, you know what I mean? But it's probably too late for you guys now listening to this, but just bookmark this for next year to just go on Pinterest and look up Easter like appetizers and desserts because it's so cute. But that is our Obsessed and Over It segment. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Our next one is called Screen Time. You guys know I love watching TV, and I wanted to do a segment dedicated to just like show news. So it's not necessarily going to be TV recaps, but if it's just like a story about a TV show or anything like that, we will be discussing it in the Screen Time segment. So the first story is about one of our favorite reality TV shows, Love Island. And Peacock announced a Love Island spinoff that is going to be called Beyond the Villa. And I am so excited for this. Probably Love Island season 6 had one of the best cast of people I've ever seen in a show in my life, honestly. So it's going to have Janae, Kenny, Leah, Miguel, Kaylor, Aaron, Serena, Connor, Liv, Kendall. Cordell is also in it, but he is not a main cast member that's listed because apparently he's filming another show. They did say it's not Traitors, but they could be throwing off our scent. You know what I mean? So he's filming something. We don't know what. And basically everyone's coming back to the show except for Rob, which like whatever. And then Andrea, whatever. And Nicole, which I haven't kept up with her since the show ended. And so many people were complaining about this, being like, I just wanted PPG, or I just wanted Kaylor and Liv, or I blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, be grateful. We're basically getting every single person. Like, we're getting everyone from the show except like 3 people. So I'm excited. I follow most of them on socials anyway because I'm just like obsessed with them, and I love this idea so much. And yeah, just be happy that we're getting a show, you guys. Stop complaining. Oh my goodness, we can't have anything nice. But also was interesting because Leah mentioned that she said before she agreed to go on the show, like any producer that was on Love Island with her, she did not want working on this show because again, they were awful to her. I don't know if you guys ever, like, if you remember it, but they were the ones who made it seem like she was hated on the outside and was like being painted as the villain, when in reality she literally gets out of the villa and has over 1 million followers and is like the #1 most loved cast member. So I'm glad she'll have a better experience because I know she had a really tough one with the producers of that show. So excited for this show. Will definitely be a must watch for me because they have just like such good energy and they're fun to watch. You know, like there's some people who just aren't fun to watch, but these people are really fun to watch. So excited for that. Okay, and then our next little Screen Time story is about HBO's new Harry Potter TV series, and they have confirmed their cast. Now, this was misleading because if it said confirmed their cast, I would have assumed that meant confirmed everyone, specifically the 3 main people. Harry, Hermione, Ron. No, they have not confirmed that. So thanks a lot for this headline, guys. But John Lithgow? John is playing Dumbledore. Jeanette McTeer is going to be Professor McGonagall. Nick Forrest is Hagrid. Papa is Dew is Snape. I don't know how to pronounce his name either. But I really just care about who the main 3 people will be. And apparently they got over 30,000 applicants, which makes a lot of sense because who wouldn't want to play these iconic characters? The only thing I will say, if Ron is not a redhead, I will actually I will be so annoyed. And one thing I don't understand is like I don't get when a show or a movie is like redoing something, why they always try to like be different and like I don't know. I think it's important to also understand that people get connected to the characters that they grew up with, and especially like the books, the Harry Potter books, the characters are described in certain ways, you know what I mean? And so it just, I'm always like, why like they just try to be different to be different, like just for the heck of it, without really any reasoning. And I don't know, like it's natural for people to want consistency. You know what I mean? So hopefully he's a redhead. You guys know how I am. I'm very protective over like redheaded characters. There's only like 2% of us in this world, okay? It's kind of like for example, Strawberry Shortcake. Like how I grew up with Strawberry Shortcake was like the OG Strawberry Shortcake. And then you have like, you know, what she is now, which is like super modernized and just like, I can't believe that is what she looks like. I don't know. It's just, I like what I grew up with, and I'm not going to apologize for that. Okay. So make him a redhead. Thank you. Alrighty. That was our little screen time segment. Our next one and our last one, this is going to be like the deep dive section, true crime, tangents, anything related to that. And I am a true crime girl, okay? I love Crime Junkie. I love any documentary about true crime. Like I'm obsessed. And I have been completely obsessed and deep diving into the Karen Read case. I just watched her documentary, and it's insane. So I'm going to talk a little bit about it because she's actually set for a retrial in 3 days, which is so crazy. So we're going to talk a little bit about it, do a little deep dive into the Karen Read case. If you don't know what it is, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here for this. So basically, to start off with the case, you are either someone who A, thinks that she did this, or B, thinks this was a cover-up. So basically, this police officer, his name was John O'Keefe, he was dating Karen Read. He was obviously a police officer. They went out with some of his other police friends, and he ended up dead in the cold on the front lawn of the friend's house. And when this happened and they found him, they automatically assumed that Karen Read hit him with her car, and then he died. Other people think that it was someone in the house that they were going to, some of his police buddies, who killed him and then covered it up and framed Karen Read. So there's a lot to dive into this. There's a lot to say, a lot of evidence. And that's why I think it was hard for the first trial juror members, because there was so much, and now it's a retrial and it's just so crazy. But I took some notes. So let's get into it. Now, the biggest thing was when they took her car in to be examined, the taillight was broken. However, there was a video of Karen driving her car and backed up into John's car, and it would have been the taillight that was broken. So the thing with this case is it's like there's evidence, and then there's also like proven why that's wrong. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of back and forth. The house where they were, so basically like Karen drove them to the friend's house, and then he got out of the car to go see if they could go in or whatever, and then she drove off. Another preface is every single person in this story was all hammered and drinking. I don't know if they were hammered, but they were all drinking, okay, for the night. So that's something to keep in mind for sure. And so one thing that was really interesting is the crime scene. They really only looked at where his body was found. No one went into the house, because if you are a believer that it was a frame and cover up, then he would have died in the house. There was nothing. No one went into the house. No one did anything in the house. No policeman went into the house. There was nothing like that, which I think is a little suspicious. And My thing is just like the drinking would have affected people. There's a lot of witnesses in this case, and that's why I would watch the documentary to kind of learn who all the witnesses are. But a lot of witnesses, would say, well, I never saw him come into the house, or I never blah, blah, blah. Other people will say like, well, Karen said this or Karen said that. And in my head, I'm like, okay, if you're drinking though, everything you hear and see can be skewed, because that's just like what alcohol does. So then the autopsy, his arm is very suspicious because there's a lot of marks on it. And originally they thought that it was from a dog or some kind of animal. In the house where he was found, they did have a dog, and somehow it got rehomed a few months after this, before the trial happened, which is a little suspicious. And that was a little weird. There was also the whole thing with the glass. So there was a glass cup in Karen Reed's car, and so when he got out to go into the friend's house, which another thing, we don't know if he made it in the house or not, which is also really crazy, but he took the glass with him out of the car. Well, when his body was found, the glass was also found with him. And so that, to me, I was kind of like, well, maybe he didn't make it inside the house, because why would he have the glass with him unless they like planted it there? I don't know, the whole glass thing is kind of, it's weirded me out, that whole thing. But another thing is, I don't know what the motive would be for like the friends to do it. But also, here's like my thoughts is like, if Karen did hit him with her car, it was probably because she was drunk. She didn't, I don't think, intentionally hit him with her car and then just leave him and then drive home. And then after she drove home to his house, and he has like 2 kids, and he was just like, or she was just there with the kids, calling him, being like mad at him, angry, like, I can't believe you left, like all this stuff. So I don't know why she would kill him and then like drive home and like call him 50 times. There's just so much, you guys. Another thing to think about is like all the people in the house, all the witnesses have the same story. So I think that if something did happen to him in the house, only like 1 or 2 people were probably involved. It was sad though, because the daughter of some of the witnesses, like, a lot of people, there's this whole movement of Free Karen Reed, and so the witnesses were getting harassed a lot, and their daughter, I think she was in high school, and people were like calling her school, like it was really, really, really bad. So it's just like a really crazy case. Another thing that came out, like, this is the thing, is so much came out that was like discovered because of this, because they obviously had all their phones. But one of the friends who was in the house apparently was like having this flirty relationship with Karen a couple weeks before John was found dead, which was a little suspicious. And then one of the guy, I think the main guy who people think did it and like framed Karen, somehow got rid of his phone before the police investigation. Now, I think 2 things. Either 1, there could have been stuff on there that would have tied him to the whole framing, or 2, there was just something on his phone he didn't want people to see. Yeah. The other thing that's really, really suspicious is there were a lot of calls early that morning, like at 2 a.m. Around that time, with like some of the people at the house and like the witnesses. There were 8 calls made within like a 2-hour span to different people, and they all said they were butt dials. That to me was like, no, that's like y'all talking about something, because that's really, really suspicious. And then the lead, one of the lead guys, his text came out that he was texting his buddies, and he was just saying gross stuff about Karen, like saying he hopes she kills herself, no nudes so far. And that was to like his bosses. So after that happened, he got suspended. So that was kind of crazy. And I think that was a turning point for the jury and probably people watching the case, because that's one of the lead people on the case, and he's talking like that about her. So he probably already had in his head what's it called? Like he already knew what he thought about her. So, yeah. The last thing that happened at the jury or the trial was there was a snowplow driver, and he said that at 2:30 a.m. he did not see a body at the front of the house, which I don't know. And then so the jury ended up deliberating for a few days, could not come to a conclusion. I think it was pretty divided. And so her retrial is for April 22nd. They will be starting with opening statements, and I hope they do it live. This case is so weird, you guys, and there's so much more information, especially people who say that they live around that area. There's so much that isn't being talked about, and just a lot of people think it was a whole framing situation, which again, like, whoever I think did it, I don't think meant to. Like, maybe there was some kind of like fight that broke out between John and like his buddies, and then it just like went too far, and then they had to just like put his body out on the front yard, and like, I don't know. And then I think if Karen did hit him, which I don't really think, but she didn't do it intentionally. So I've just been like, this case is so crazy. I would highly recommend, if you're interested, to watch the documentary, because there's just so much information, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with the second trial. So they did get a different prosecutor, because the last prosecutor like kind of sucked, but her defense attorney, he is so good. Like, his closing statement was amazing. So yeah, I think that's everything, guys. I think that's a wrap on this week's episode of Literally What, our first episode in the new studio. I love the new studio. I love all the pink. I'm so excited to add things. I can't decide like what I want on the wall. That was really like my biggest thing, is I didn't just want to like put something up here just to put it up there and then not love it. So I've been trying to wait until I find something I really, really love to put up there. So if you guys have any ideas, let me know. But yeah, I don't know what to put up there. That's been like on my mind the past like 2 weeks. But yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me in my new studio and getting into all this crazy stuff on the internet. It has just been so much fun podcasting, and I'm excited to see where it goes. Anyway, make sure you guys are following the podcast on Instagram, on TikTok, and if you're watching on YouTube, go subscribe. If you're listening, again, we're going to be pretty much anywhere you can get podcasts, not just on Spotify and Apple. There's going to be a lot of just extra fun things that are posted, so make sure that you're following all of that. Everything, again, is linked in the description box, so click on that if you just want to see what's there. And yeah, so excited. I'll be back next week, and we'll get into some more pop culture, true crime, internet chaos that will have you saying, literally what? Bye, guys.